Welcome everybody. Welcome to our Golden Speaker Club of Toastmasters International. We meet every Tuesday at 7:45 p.m. in Hy-Vee down the ice cream aisle. Let me introduce to our president, Mr. Rick Starr.
Thank you, Sudeep. Fellow Golden Speakers, honored guests, and viewers at home. Let's start with our guests. Could you stand and tell us your name and what brought you to Toastmasters?
My name's Orion Abrams. I know about Toastmasters from my stepdad, who, his name's Ed Hip. He won Toastmasters comedy competition, I think twice. But he no longer goes here. But I'm here because I'm interested in a career in public speaking or speech writing, so I feel like this would help in either of those. And what I mainly want to talk about in public speeches are how to overcome struggles with mental illness, especially bipolar disorder. So that's why I'm here.
We're glad you're here. Welcome. If anyone has one of these, please make sure it's off. We don't want anyone disturbed while they're giving the speech. We don't want any part of the meeting disturbed. Thank you for doing that. If you can imagine a competent leader manual in my hand and me holding it up, again, we encourage you, if you have a role, bring your competent leader manual, get it checked off. Whether you're evaluating, there it is, or any other role, because you're going to do them anyway, and that way you can work towards your competent leader award. There's another one in the back. We're awash with them. After the meeting, we have a special treat. Our Vice President of Public Relations, Art Atkins, has been doing some very exciting things with Facebook and the Toastmasters Club Facebook page. And he's going to give us a brief overview of what he's done. This is actually a teaser to a speech he's going to give, where he's going to go into it in more detail. Our club mission: we provide a safe, supportive, and positive learning experience in which club members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. In this club, we have fun doing it. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Toastmaster for the evening, Rick Starr. Thank you, Mr. President. Have a good meeting today. We have two new speakers who are giving their first speech, their icebreaker. We're very excited about this. And we have a second speaker who is giving her second speech. The theme for today is in a rush. As I was scrambling around trying to get the agenda ready today, I thought, well, this is a good theme. Here's a quote from the great basketball player, Earl the Pearl Monroe. "Just be patient. Let the game come to you. Don't rush. Be quick, but don't hurry." I think that applies to life also. And now I will introduce our role players. Madam Timer, could you tell us what your role as a timer is?
Guests, viewers at home. Tonight, my role as a timer is to take notes about every speech and evaluators, how much time they have spent. And for icebreakers, I will show the green light at 4 minutes. And at 5 minutes, I will show the yellow light. And at the 6 minutes, I will show the red light. And for the table topics, they have 1 to 2 minutes At 1 minute, I will show the green light. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will show the yellow light. And at 2 minutes, I will show the red light. For every evaluators, the time should be at 2 to 3 minutes, and I will show the green light at 2 minutes. At 3:37 minutes, I will show the yellow light, and at 3 minutes, I will show the red light. At the end of the meeting, I will take a report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Madam Grammarian, please explain what the grammarian's role is.
Mr. President, fellow members of Toastmasters and viewers at home, I'm the grammarian for the evening, and my role is to listen to the use of language as people are giving their talks and evaluations and so forth, make note of any especially rich use of language or possible grammatical errors, and report on those at the end of the meeting. Also, we're introducing a word of the evening, which in this case is precarious. And this word means of tenuous or marginal safety or security. And an example of the use of this word is the young acrobat's balance was precarious. And so all people are invited to use this word in their talks this evening, and I'll report on the use of the word of the evening.
Art, will you please explain the role of the counter?
Good evening, Toastmasters. The purpose of the counter is to note words and sounds used as crutches or fillers by anyone who speaks during the meeting. I've already made note of several speakers. I will watch people reporting ahs, ums, inappropriate ands, you knows, likes, so's, buts, repeated words, which are sometimes called Xeroxes. And I'll give a brief report at the end of the meeting.
Our general evaluator is Jeff Shipley, seems to be missing. If he doesn't show up, I'll take over that role. And our greeter and joke master is Jean Symington Craig. Now let's move on to the prepared speeches. Toastmasters, we give two kinds of speeches, prepared speeches and what's called table topics. Prepared speeches are just that. You have time to prepare. You have a specific goal you're working on, and they're generally about 5 to 7 minutes, although our icebreakers will be shorter. And I'd like to introduce Andal, who will give the introduction to Isaac for his icebreaker.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. Guests and viewers at home. I'm pleased to introduce Isaac. I'm still learning on your last name to pronounce it correctly. Maybe by the end I'll pronounce it right. On his icebreaker. He's a master's student at Maharishi University of Management. He's a software engineer. He loves mixed martial arts. I bet to watch or to play, I don't know. He loves to watch movies and read novels. The objective of his speech for tonight is to begin speaking before an audience, to discover speaking skills you already have and skills that need some attention. His title for tonight's speech is The Best Education I Received in United States. Let's warmly welcome Isaac.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, and our honored guests. I came from a country called Eritrea. I came here because I want to take my master's education in computer science. And the reason why I chose the United States to do my master's in was all the best tech schools and tech companies are based in the United States. So it was an easy decision for me to decide to apply to college here. So I have been taking classes for about 4 months now, computer science classes. But it was a great surprise for me when I learned or when I discovered that the most valuable education that I received in those 4 months has nothing to do with computers. It had nothing to do with software engineering. And it had to do with liberty. I knew the word liberty by meaning, but I didn't know it by experience. I came from a country that is very oppressive, that's run by a tyrant dictator. So I just knew the word liberty because I read it from somewhere. So when I came here and I started to feel this new feeling, this grand feeling, this feeling of freedom. And it was foreign to me, or I have never felt it before. The only time I remember feeling this feeling was when I was a child. It was not out of the convenience of my situation, but I was a child and I was naive, so I was free. So when I continued to grow up, the clutches of the government tightened on me, and little by little, my life was out of my hand, and all the big decisions that I make for myself are made by the government. All the decisions that I make about my education, my job, where I want to travel, what I want to eat, what I want to take, and what I want to speak are all decided by the government. So when I grew up, I forgot about liberty, I forgot about freedom. But a wonderful thing happened, and I came to the United States, and I once more know of freedom. And I feel like there are endless possibilities now. I feel like I can think of something and I can do it. I feel like I can direct my life to whatever direction I like. And every morning I wake up, I go to my window and I take deep breaths in, and I feel the freedom in the air. And finally, I would like to say, and after I routine, I express I give my thanks to the United States, of course, for this lesson of liberty. Then after that, and I want to treasure it every morning. It was a unique experience for me, the feeling of liberty. The liberty that I was born with, but was taken away from me. So every morning I promise myself that I shall have this feeling also in my country, whatever it takes. Thank you.
Madam Timer, could you time us 2 minutes, please? And if everyone could fill out an evaluation form for the speaker. Thank you. Welcome back. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mahesh, who will introduce Ephraim, who is giving his icebreaker. Mahesh.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, members, and viewers at home. Today I'll be evaluating speech, icebreaker speech given by, which will be given by Ephraim. If I have to introduce him, he was born in Eritrea and spent most of his life over there until 2012, where he moved to the Nottingham, United Kingdom, and in Nottingham he did his master's in electrical engineering, and then he moved to the United States. He lived in the Berkeley, California, and he is now a student at Maharishi University of Management, where he is studying Masters in Computer Science. He loves traveling and have a goal of reading a book every week, and in the future he wants to do his third Masters in Business Administration. So today he will be giving his icebreaker speech, for which we all have been waiting for a long time. The title of his speech is The 4 Mistakes of My Life. And as an evaluator, the objective of his speech is to begin speaking before an audience and to discover speaking skills he already knows and skills that he needs some attention. So please allow me to welcome Ephraim Toll for his icebreaker speech.
Thank you, Mahesh. Dear Toastmasters, viewers at home, and honored guests. Today I'm going to be giving about my icebreaker, the 4 mistakes of my life. Mistakes in our lives usually are bad things, but in my case, they were quite a good things, and they have changed the way I am today. So I'm born in a family of 4. My parents, they still are alive. They live in Eritrea. They love even numbers. They love the number 4. But one day, something happened. My dad was reading his newspaper, and my mom came. She was looking pale, and she was standing. My dad he put his glass down, and he asked, "What's going on?" Then my mom said, "I'm pregnant." She was pregnant with me. It happened after 8 years of having their last child. So they were perplexed, and I was conceived. Mistake number 1. What happened was, in Eritrea, you don't usually get a chance to know the gender of your child. So after having 3 sons and 1 daughter, they were expecting for one thing, a baby daughter. You know who appeared? November 17, 1987. Mistake number 2. They didn't play with the chromosomes. So a guy came into this world. So I could see the looks in my parents when I was young. They were looking at me all the time, like the kind of look that you get when you get into a party of uninvited. Everybody looks at you. Why is he here? That was what I got. But I was funny. I was good. And since all my brothers were old, they left the country early. So I was the one who took the family business. I was helping. At some point, I started to be a host in a radio. And I started to be famous, just like Justin Bieber. So relationships started to improve between me and my parents. They started to look at me as a good person. That inspired me to be an electrical engineer because I was spending most of my time in the studio. And I left my country, I came to the US. But one thing happened when I was in Eritrea. After finishing school, I wanted a girlfriend. So I was going asking for girls for their numbers. One lucky day I got a chance and a girl gave me her number. We had an appointment. So I dressed well. I was wearing my t-shirt and I started going out. Halfway, I realized that I have a dry skin. It's not fair to go for a date with this dry skin. So I was looking forward to ask somebody for a lotion. On the venue of the appointment, there was another girl standing. It was a good chance for me, so I went to her and asked her, "Miss, do you have a lotion?" The girl looked at me and she said, "No, I don't have it." So I thought maybe while waiting for the other girl, let me talk to this girl. And the lotion started a conversation for me. So we were talking for about 20 minutes. She told me that she's waiting for another guy to come. And I told her that I'm waiting for another girl to come. After that, nothing happened. After 20 minutes, nobody came. Then I saw and I realized that I have made a mistake of the place. I went to the wrong place. So I asked this girl, "You know what? We're gonna be waiting for the next 5 minutes. If by any chance your guy doesn't come, I know for sure that my girl was not gonna come, we will have a nightcap." And the girl said, "Okay." So we went, nobody came after the 5 minutes, we went, we had a cappuccino. That girl became my girlfriend, and we've been together for the last 6 years. That was mistake number 3, going to the wrong place. So one day, I was sitting, reading my newspaper, and my girlfriend came. She came, and she was looking pale.
Uh-oh.
She was standing like this. I looked at her, and I was like, what is she gonna say? And she looked at me and she said, "I'm pregnant." Mistake number 4, which didn't happen. But I want it to happen because one thing I've realized in my life is mistakes bring good things. So if I'm gonna have a baby, let it be a mistake, because me, myself, I'm a mistake. Thank you very much.
Madam Timer, could you time us 2 minutes, please, so we can fill out the evaluation form? Thank you. Thank you. Madam Timer, could you tell us of the 2 speakers, which one's qualified?
Isaac is qualified and Ephraim is qualified.
Thank you. So let's vote for best speaker, either Ephraim or Isaac, and we have these little ballots on your seats. Even guests can vote on this. Best speaker, Isaac or Ephraim. And now we come to the evaluation section. In Toastmasters, we learn communication skills by giving a speech with certain objectives and also having our speech evaluated by our peers. And so I'd like to introduce Isaac's evaluator, Andal. Andal to evaluate Isaac. Thank you.
Toastmaster, guests and viewers at home. I'm going to evaluate Isaac. Congratulations, Isaac, on your first step through public speaking. I'm going to go over the evaluation criteria, the points that are given here. What strong points does the speaker already have? Well, I think he had a very good eye contact with the audience, and you had a your voice was good, audible, but it's my opinion, it could have been more louder. and you greeted the audience. That was good. How well did the audience get to know the speaker? I think it was a start to get to know a little bit, but I'm hoping to know you more in your other 9 speeches. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? I think yes, it did. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes, you did. But my opinion, as I said, you could have been a little more louder. Did the speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? You had a very good conclusion, body, but it's again my opinion to say that you could have had a better opening with maybe to capture the audience. You could have started with a question to grab the attention to your speech. I liked your ending where you said, I will also have this freedom in my country no matter what it takes. That was a very good, excellent conclusion. Please comment on the speaker's use of notes. Of course, you did not use any notes. That was really great. But I think it's okay to use notes when you need, unless the objective does not want you to use notes. What could the speaker have done differently that would have improved the speech? Well, you could have had more stories about you, because I was just having I was getting involved in your story so much, and I was looking forward to hear more. So I thought you could have had more stories to add it to your speech. What did you like about the presentation? I liked the whole speech about the liberty and freedom, how you brought your childhood and then how you connected to your life today, like how you feel when you felt how when you lost the freedom when you grew up, and then again you got it back in US. That's amazingly great, and congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you, Andal. And now I'd like to introduce Mahesh, who will evaluate Ephraim's icebreaker speech.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, members, honorable guests, and viewers at home. I would like to give a applause of hand to him. I'm very glad to evaluate him. This is the best speech I've ever heard for a long, massive, long time. So I don't have any suggestions to give him, but if I have to follow the Toastmaster manual, I have a lot of questions that I need to answer. So I'll be going through all the questions that I need to answer. The first question for the evaluation is, what strong point does the speaker already have? I think this question should be changed to, what weak points does the speaker have? Because he doesn't have any weak point. He has absolutely everything as a strong point. He introduced his speak by saying about the 3 mistakes of his life. I was saying, how can a person introduce his speak by saying about the 3 mistakes? But oh my God, like I was wrong. It can be clearly said with the 3 mistakes and the entire life. That was really awesome. And how well did the audience get to know the speaker? I think very, very well. We knew from his birth, and then we knew about his we knew about the second mistake, and we knew about the third mistake. We loved the mistake. This is the first time I ever loved the mistake. Have you ever felt the same? I love mistakes. I'm so happy. Like, mistakes is good right now. Okay. The third question that I'll be evaluating is, did the speech reflect adequate preparation? No wonder it reflects total preparation, a full preparation, 100% preparation. It was very clear. It was smooth like a silk. The flow of the speech was so smooth like a silk. The fourth question is did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes, very, very clearly. The speech has audibly, it can be heard from everyone. It was so clear, it was very small. And did the speaker have a definite opening, body and conclusion? Definitely yes. He started his opening by saying about the 3 mistakes of his life, and he concluded his speech by saying about us, giving us a suspense. What is the 4th mistake, right? So it has a very good conclusion. And please comment on the speaker use of the note. He spoke without the use of any notes. What could the speaker have done differently that would have improved the speech? I don't know if I'm the only one feeling about this, but there is nothing that he could have done to improve his speech. But if I have to say something, then what I'll say is, if he tried to show something like use of some sort of materials like a child, and that was the first mistake. Okay, child, here it is born, something like this. So and okay. What did you like about the presentation? I loved everything. I loved everything of this presentation. So thank you so much, Ephraim. I'm really glad to be your evaluator for the evening.
And now we come to the impromptu speaking section known as Table Topics. And now it brings me great pleasure to introduce our Table Topics master, fresh from Ireland, Mr. Emery.
Thank you, Rick, and good evening, fellow members, guests, and viewers at home. Today in Mount Pleasant, where I live, it was the first day of school, and as I have, I believe, every year since 1978, we've had a child start school this time of year. And so I took a picture of our youngest who's starting her senior year, and then on Sunday we had one going off to college in Waterloo, and I took a picture of her and I posted those on Facebook. So that brings to mind tonight's table topic subjects about school, the start of school, memories of school. So without giving anything further away, I'm ready to call for volunteers. Rona.
So this is not relating to patience, the theme of the meeting, right? It's related to school. Just to clarify.
Yeah. And I'm not having anybody choose numbers. I'm choosing the question for the person.
Do it.
Okay. Rana, some schools require uniforms for students. Others don't. Which do you favor?
Okay, thank you. All right. School's in session. You forgot your uniform. You're going to the office. No, I was in China once, and the question, first thing that came to mind was that I was when I was in China, and I taught English to middle schoolers, and I proposed this very same question to them. Do you prefer a school where you are allowed to wear whatever you want, or a school where you have that was the question, right? Mandatory uniforms. And I asked the students to debate, to come up with an argument to say, I am for uniforms and I am against uniforms. And the debate actually got absolutely nowhere. It was a failed debate. I think everybody in the class had differing opinions. But the lesson that I learned from that was that from that day in China back it was only 3 years ago, I guess. But the lesson that I learned was that uniforms are not really a big deal. It's just the clothing we wear. It's just our exterior appearance. It's nice to look good, but I don't think it's really a big deal if you have. I grew up in a school where we did have no shorts allowed, so no shorts were allowed any time of the year. Summer, it's 110 degrees in Pennsylvania, and no shorts were allowed. So I was very frustrated with that, but and everybody was. It was just something you talked about. Oh man, we can't wear shorts. This is insane. You know, it's high school. We're allowed to. We're grown adults. We can do what we want. You know, shorts. What's that really? You know, how obnoxious is that? It's not like I'm wearing, you know, an alligator costume or something. So I think there should be some limitation on uniforms, but to actually have you know, a uniform that says you can't wear this, you have to wear this, you know, it's kind of limiting. So I think uniforms are okay to a certain extent, but there should be some leeway in there. That was a long answer. Sorry for that.
Maybe consider a career in politics. Oh, Sudeep. Peer into your soul here. Are you from Nepal?
Yes.
Okay. Sudeep, if you were in charge of your country's educational system, what is the biggest change you would make?
Thank you. Toastmasters. So I'm going to talk about, wow, this is the big thing. It's like if I'm in charge. So quite recently I watched a video of European education system. It's like mostly of Sweden and some other countries. It was a really interesting video because they compared the education of US and then Europe, and they said their students do better in study because they don't have exams. Their evaluation system is quite different. It's like, and then there's some schools in some countries, they don't have homework. So it's like, I feel, when I watched that video, I realized that, wow, that's what it should be. If I'm the charge, then I'll make the education system as flexible as possible. Let the students choose from the childhood, they choose their interest and try to broaden their mind. No, absolutely no homework. And then the education, the exams should be very lenient as possible so that have their time to think about themselves, those kids, learn by themselves. They go home, they don't have to cram the homework like study, but they can find something useful, some information from online or from their relatives, family members, learn something new. That's how I think there's a new way of thinking, and that can make a big difference in the country education. Thank you.
Thank you. I do very consider a career in politics. Oh, Ryan, would you like to participate?
Sure. Yeah.
I'd ask you to come back. What was the most valuable thing you learned in school? And was it inside the classroom or outside? And you have a minute to think before you...
A whole minute? 60 seconds?
No, 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Half a minute.
Never thought about this before, so it's hard to decide. I'd say probably outside the classroom. During extracurricular activities, I was in speech competition, and that was really helpful. Because it was one of the few things I was passionate about. I was in 12th grade, and I went to speech competition, and I was in the choral reading and the readers theater, and it was just a lot of fun. I got to study Shakespeare and did these Pablo Neruda poems. I fly over you who walk, and it was a good time. And I guess in college there was also some extracurricular activities. I did a little bit of acting, which was fun. Did some yoga, just stuff I was really interested in. And in terms of things I learned in school, that I can't really say that there was anything as beneficial. I mean, it was just learning the subjects: English, math, social studies, history, etc. I mean, I wouldn't call it a good thing that I learned, but I did learn how to be obedient and shut up. I guess it saved me a little bit of time at home when I would have to be obedient and shut up to my parents at times. But in my opinion, learning how to be more expressive and extroverted has helped me more than shutting up. So, that's a nice speech.
Thank you. Knowing when to stop is a good thing. Okay. Anyone who doesn't have a role who might want to speak? Susanna? Oh, no. Either. Both. Randall, what is the most important thing that you didn't learn in school that you wish you would have, and why?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. Well, I've never thought about this question before, and as I'm thinking about what is my weakness, with which I'm still working on it to get better, one of the thing is I can say no to people when they ask something. Many times it gets me into trouble, or I put more pressure on myself to get that yes to be accomplished. So I remember once when I was in a training program which was conducted by one of my professor in my master's program, was a public speaking skills. And at the end of the program, after 1 week, my professor was supposed to talk about each student member, and the suggestion she gave was learn to say no. It's okay to say no. I'm still trying and finding ways to learn to say no, but I haven't successfully gotten there. There are times when my friends take me for granted, and in spite of me doing every possible thing to them, sometimes I'm just pulled down, and it hurts me at times. So I'm learning to say no to them. Yeah, this is one thing I wish I could have learned it at school, but no school teaches how to live your life in a practical way, but then you have to learn it your hard way by falling down and getting up to walk again. So I'm learning there.
Thank you. I think we have time for another.
Yes.
Okay. One more? Not to point fingers, Susanna.
Can I do it even though I have a roll?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not a problem.
So she's taking talks about it later.
Oh, are you?
No, I am.
Jean is.
Okay.
Can't you see me writing dramatic?
No, this way.
Smoking.
Yeah.
Doug, could you take over her role while she's
Susanna, can you tell us about your most embarrassing or precarious moment as a student? Thank you.
all right. Fellow Toastmaster members, guests, viewers at home. The most embarrassing moment I remember in my school life was in first grade. I went to the first grade in Scotland because my father was there getting a PhD at the University of Edinburgh. And I was younger than the usual Scottish student, younger than United States student would be starting school. There they start when they were 5, in the US we start when we're 6. So since I was 5, I was starting school earlier than usual. And so I was there, I was a little different because I was from the United States. And this was Scotland, and the other children all spoke with rolling their R's. You know, the playground, something like that. And I couldn't do that. I was very embarrassed. I was speaking differently from the other students, and I felt shy. And so at night, I would practice. I could in bed before I was waiting to go to sleep. I did end up dropping out of school after about a month. This teacher was very strict. I wasn't very happy. So my parents allowed me to stay home. And a truant officer came around to check on me. And I overheard my parents explaining to the truant officer that I would be starting school again in the United States when I went back. So that was my most embarrassing time. Thank you very much.
I can keep going or surrender the stage.
Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple more.
One more. 6.
All right. Art, can you tell us about your favorite teacher and what made him or her memorable and special? Sure.
My favorite teacher was a social studies teacher in 10th grade. Usually my experience in social studies classes was getting the papers done was a very precarious situation. It was the last minute. The paper wasn't well thought out. It was banged out on an old manual typewriter with plenty of errors in it. But this time, for some reason, the man inspired me, and I started weeks before the paper was due to prepare this epic tome called Allah Akbar about the expansion of Islam from one little place at Mecca till it was banging on the doors of the Pyrenees all the way down to India. And I was having so much fun writing this paper that I got it done before it was due by maybe a week, turned it in, and this teacher went ballistic in holding me up as the example of everything right that the social studies student in the class should do. He had me read the paper aloud to the class. Turns out that Bill Teeple, who runs Icon Gallery, was in the same social studies class as I was. And we discovered this about 5 years ago. But this teacher still stands out in my memory as one of the finest teachers because of the fact that he was able to inspire me to do something and not have it be a last-minute deal.
Are we finished? I have one more.
One more, do it.
Okay. Dan wants the floor. Mr. Dan, how well did your elementary school and high school prepare you for college?
Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. My elementary school, I don't think was a factor in my college preparation. High school, yes. I ended up taking honors classes in math and English. And then when I went to college, I went to a large school, Texas Tech, 20-something thousand people. You get in these freshman classes that had 400 or 500 people. So the level expected was not particularly high. So in that sense, my high school prepared me very, very well, or over-prepared me, though it's probably more of a commentary on the college that I went to. Maybe I should have reached a little higher. There's so many things in high school about just growing up, not just in the classroom, but I also played sports, and there's a lot that you learn there. I didn't particularly enjoy the lessons at the time, but there is a lot that you learn about sticking with something, even if it's difficult, following through. And I think that served me well in college also. Now, junior high would be a whole different subject, but we won't go there.
Madam Timer, can you tell us yet which speakers qualified?
Everybody is qualified. Prana, Sudeep. Our guest, can I have a name?
Orion.
Orion. And then Susanna, Art, and then they all qualified. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now let us vote for your best table topic speaker. Would you read those names again, please?
Prana, Sudeep. Sorry. Our guest.
Orion.
Oh, Orion.
Like Orion's belt, you know, the star.
Orion. And then Susanna, Art. Then.
Susanna?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We don't give her
So
any
many.
time.
So many.
You were like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll give you some extra time. Jean.
Yeah.
40 minutes, is that good? We have
I
plenty of
have
time.
7 people.
Yeah,
Seven
I have the
people.
whole room.
every time I would invite somebody else up, she would grow.
She'd cringe, I know. That's why I was doing it.
Okay.
7 minutes?
So, yeah.
5 to 7?
Well, how about we go? I go till I finish.
Always.
How about
That's a suggestion.
how about what would be good? 4 to 5. 4 to 5.
4 to 5, that's enough.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
5 to 6.
Well, Ben
I'll
says
finish
yes.
sooner.
I think the cameraman's the arbiter here, so.
Just because he has all that equipment.
I know, look at him.
Yeah.
Jean Symington Craig, Table Topics Evaluator.
Okay. Thank you. So we're doing 5 to 6. Is that what you would say? If I have some points,
5 to 6.
but I'll try to finish sooner.
Okay.
5 to 6. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. I'm going to run through, give some comments on the table topics. School. Prana got the question about uniforms. Uniforms or no uniforms? Now here's the thing I want to mention about Prana, and this is something that I caught a couple times, is if you're going to bring a story in, make sure it supports the point you want to make. Prana started out with a story, which is very interesting, how he was teaching English to Chinese students, and they had a debate about whether to have uniforms or not have uniforms. And then, he kind of brought it to the conclusion that uniforms are not a big deal. Now, I had a little trouble connecting the story to that conclusion. So my suggestion to Prana would be to think a little bit longer at the beginning. You have up to 30 seconds. And have a story that actually is going to support your conclusion or pull something. That was an interesting story. Maybe there's a different conclusion that could come from that. Maybe because there was so much, maybe that we were not clear about the value of uniforms as a result. Something that ties into that story. Sudeep, changes to the system. He did have a story that supported, ultimately he told us, I'd like to see more flexibility, no exams, no homework, everybody's having a good time. But what I would suggest would be at the beginning to answer the question to say, I would like to change the system to have more flexibility, no exams, no homework, and then to support that with, I saw a video that showed all of these things being done around the world, and they're all getting better grades or better results than other systems. So see how that would be powerful to do that. And as the audience, I know where he's going as a result. So that's my suggestion. By the way, evaluation is always just personal opinion. So you could be sitting there hearing me say this and be thinking, that is absolutely the most idiotic thing I ever heard. And that you're entitled to do that. Let's see, Orion. Oh yeah, so frame it for the audience first and then bring in the story. So Orion, is that all right, Orion?
Yeah.
I have a friend who's got a son named Orion, and you could look like him too. He's blonde and that kind of way. Most valuable thing learned. Now, was it the most valuable thing learned? Could you read me the question?
What was the most valuable thing you learned in school? Was it inside the classroom or outside?
Okay, so the point I would make there, and Orion is a guess, and kudos for getting up and just hitting it, is that because the question was the most, I would pick one thing. So I'd take that little extra bit of time, the 30 seconds, and then deliver a speech with what was that most important thing. Now, Orion was trying to kind of find his way through it, and he hit on a number of points, and any which of them we knew were important for him, because he was telling us that. But maybe think a little bit longer and then actually come up with the one thing. I think that's going to come up somewhere else too. So that's what I would suggest. Andal, most important thing not learned in school, gave some really nice personal stories of how saying yes has not worked for her. And she did do a very important aspect, which was she wrapped it up at the end. So she did say that something she didn't learn in school was how to say no, but she wished she had learned how to say that. And that's powerful with extemporaneous speaking, because you've taken the audience on a journey and now you bring it back and you actually nail it to the original question. Susanna, precarious moment in school. Great personal story about rolling the R's. The suggestion for her would be to watch run-on sentences with and. I think you basically had one sentence in the whole thing because it was connected with and the whole time, or so's. Okay, so just you want to put a period and then start. Art, favorite teacher. How am I doing for time?
3 minutes.
All right. Piece of cake. Art, favorite teacher. Art had some great facial expressions. I don't know, he sort of had some ways of scrunching his face up, and he just didn't want to do things, and it's like, you know, he's got, you know, for that face that he's got, he gets a lot of mileage out of it. He also had some good word choice. Now, the one I picked up was epic tome. Epic tome. It's great. But he had some other ones in there that were just really well done, particularly on the spur of the moment. And he also had a wrap up. He had a good conclusion that this was a favorite teacher who inspired him because he made Art do some things ahead of time. So that was a nice reminder. Shows that Art's holding on to the thread throughout the whole process. And then we have Dan. I don't think I gave Andal a suggestion, and I don't know what that would be. I don't have an answer. I'll have to think about that one a little bit more. Dan, elementary, high school, how was that preparation for college? Well, Dan had a good little hook on that, which was that actually his high school actually over-prepared him for the college that he ended up going to, which is an interesting twist. But he ran it out a little bit more. He just said but there were other lessons that he learned from high school, not necessarily directly related to college, but kind of related to college, like sports and sticking with something even if you don't like it. Kind of like marriage. You know, you made a commitment and you're gonna stick to it, right? Has nothing to do with personal anything. Suggestion to him would be, as he finished at the end, he should have stopped 2 seconds sooner, because he said, but junior high is another story, but we won't go there. It's a little bit of a dribble. It's an introduction of another thing. He could have just stopped and been done. Don't introduce another piece. Good. All right. Thank you. I'm done.
Madam Timer, which of the evaluators, including our table topics evaluator, qualified?
Every evaluator is qualified, and their name is Endo, Nahash, Prana, and G.
Sure, I'll take it. What the heck?
You probably didn't really evaluate, but you can still vote for him if you want. But
2017.
Okay, so vote for best evaluator. Thank you. All right, it's time for the reports. Maya, please give us the timers report.
For prepared speeches, Isaac spent 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Ephraim spent 5 minutes and 37 seconds. And for table topics, Prana is 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Sudeep is 1 minute and 46 seconds. Orion is 1 minute and 52 seconds. And Dal is 1 minute and 58 seconds. Susanna is 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Art is 1 minute and 53 seconds. Dan is 1 minute and 50 seconds. For evaluators, Ando is 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Mahesh is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Jean is 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you.
Susanna, can we have the grammarians report, please?
Yes. Thank you, fellow members, people at home. I felt that people generally use language very well. A few highlights, I would say, I really appreciated Isaac's use of a rhetorical device of rhythmically repeating something to produce a very good effect. He said, this new feeling, this grand feeling, this feeling of freedom, that's a very effective use of a rhetorical device. And I thought Emery saying that every year we've had a child going to school was an effective use of humor and just unexpected. Yes, when you think about
For
it.
sympathy.
Okay, good. And then Art used the word precarious. And I agree with Jean's evaluation that him saying epic tome was a little bit more colorful language than usual. Okay.
Art, can you give us the odd counters report, please?
So the word "and" is a winner by a mile tonight. Person by person. Orion, 2 us, 3 ums, 5 ands, and an I mean. Rick, 1 Isaac, clean. Ephraim, 5 us, 6 us, 1 so, 3 ands. Amaya, 4 ands. Susanna, 1 1 1 so, 5 ands, and several and so's. Andal, 3 us, 2 ums, 2 so's, 2 ands, and a well. Mahesh, very many us, I think 8, and 3 ands. Emery, 3 ands. Rana, 2 us, 1 no, 4 ands, and leeway twice, sort of a false start. Sudeep, 1 1 and. Dan, 2 so's, 2 ands. Jean, 1 and. That's my report.
Jean, do you want to tell us a joke?
Oh, yes. Okay. So following the theme of the night, I realized at 7:15 that I was the joke master also. Had forgotten that little detail. So in a rush, I quick got a joke. So the daughter comes running up to the father, says, Dad, is it true that an apple a day will keep the doctor away? And the dad says, well, yes, that's what they say. And she says, well, quick, give me an apple. I just broke the doctor's window.
And now I shall evaluate the evaluators. Andal, you evaluated Isaac. You did all the right things in the beginning. You greeted the audience. You went through the objectives, said the title. When you stood up to give the evaluation, you greeted the audience. And you started by congratulating him on his icebreaker, which set a good feeling for the evaluation. Then you went through the manual, and it was very interesting how you interspersed things he did well with things he could have done better. Good suggestions. and you ended with some very positive feelings, very good praise about his speech. So it was a very good evaluation. A suggestion, again, this is just our opinion. You alluded to the fact that you really enjoyed his speech. I would have been a little more explicit about saying it was a heartfelt speech. It was a sincere speech. It was filled with emotion, because I thought it was. So that's just a suggestion. Mahesh, you did the right things in the beginning. You greeted the audience. You explained the objectives of the speech. You started your speech with congratulating Ephraim on his icebreaker. And you were very effusive in your praise of the speech, and he was well-deserved. You used no notes, and various other things. You couldn't say enough good things about him. I have to say this is the first time I've heard bringing a child in as a prop, but maybe it's a good idea. I think you could rent one for the evening somewhere. But one thing, you were a little reluctant to say any area for improvement. And this isn't a personal thing. This is part of evaluating. If you, for example, Ephraim paced a little bit, you could have said something. He looked down a little, and you could have said he could have used more eye contact. So it's important for both the speaker, for you to give him constructive criticism, and for you as an evaluator. As Jean always says, you're using a different set of muscles as an evaluator, and it's important that you exercise these muscles. Jean, given a task, I think we had 128 speakers you had to evaluate. You rushed through it, you did a good job. But I think Jean did a very good job of picking up things they could have done better. And this is what an evaluator is for, giving suggestions. She said it was her own opinion. That's true, but there were very insightful comments on almost everybody. You had quite a few speakers, so I thought that was very good. And last week we talked about the purpose of evaluation is to leave the speaker feeling enthusiastic, wanting to go rush back and work on his next project. I'm not sure the comment you made to Dan, how marriage was just like gritting your teeth and hoping for the best, did that, but that was a good comment.
Marriage is a whole nother story.
Yeah, we won't get into that now.
We won't go there.
So that's my evaluation. Thank you. And now the meeting awards. Drum rolls, please. Best table topics. Andal. Best evaluator, Jean. And the best speaker, Ephraim. What's your best speaker? I'm going to give you another ribbon for your first icebreaker. And Isaac, here's a ribbon for you. Congratulations on your icebreaker. Before we hear from Art with his exciting news of what he's doing with Facebook, I have a couple of announcements. Next week speaking is Emery, John, and Rick. He shows up. The week after that, Art, Jean, and Sudeep.
Jean is changing.
Huh?
Jean has changed.
Okay. And we need some speakers for the 13th. We have no speakers for the 13th.
When is the club contest? I've lost track.
Club contest, I'm going to get into that the 20th. Yes. So we'll be asking next week for if you want to volunteer after this meeting, that's fine, but we need some speakers for the 13th. Next week, August 30th, we're having our executive committee meeting. It's 1 week earlier. Usually we have it the first Tuesday of each month. It'll be next week, August 30th at 6:45 in the dining area.
It's a Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So please be there. And our club speech contest is Tuesday, September 20th here at Hy-Vee. It's going to start at 7:30. If you have a role, please get here a little earlier. And we need role players, chief judges, contest chair, judges, ballot counters, sergeant-at-arms. The good news about this is that it's entirely scripted. We'll give you a script of every word you have to say, every action you have to take. Plus you get credit for it it's one of the things in your Competent Leader Manual. And there are two contests, a humorous speech contest and a speech evaluation contest. And I would encourage anyone who is funny to enter the humorous speech contest, and all other people who aren't funny enter the evaluation contest. Yes?
Well, you can enter both. You can enter both.
You can enter both.
You can be not funny and still enter the humorous.
Not funny in the
contest.
appropriate one, though. You got to
Yes.
remember that.
I just want to say, Will, our Vice President of Education, asked, he would like to know who is interested in doing the evaluation contest, because he will put people, make sure they're getting some practice
Good.
in.
Good.
So that one you don't have to prepare at all. You just have to come and evaluate. But we do need a target speaker also.
Yeah, we need someone to give a speech for the evaluation contestants to evaluate, and you can also get manual credit in one of your manuals for doing this speech. So if you're looking to give a speech, it could be on anything, could be any speech. Good idea to do it from a manual, that way you get credit for it. Any other comments, questions? It's my pleasure to introduce our Vice President of Public Relations, Art Atkinson, who will tell us the exciting news about Facebook.
Thank you, Rick. Could I see a show of hands? How many of you have noticed that the meetings are more fun when there's more people in the room?
Yeah.
How many of you? The energy is higher. The meetings just click. It's great. As your Vice President of Public Relations, I have a personal goal to double the number of people who attend our meetings, so that every chair is full every meeting. The executive committee, the officers, agreed with my proposal early on right after we took office, that we work on getting much more traction and effective use of our Facebook presence to generate that kind of an effect of more people showing up in the room. How many of you, show of hands, are aware that we have a presence, we have a Facebook page for the club? How many of you visited it in the past week? Interesting. Okay. What we found is that we don't get as much traction. We don't get new people coming in because they've seen the posts that show up on that page. And because of the technical nature of that page, it occurred to me that there might be a better way. And we've begun implementing it. What I've created is a Facebook group called Golden Speakers Toastmasters Fairfield. The name is very similar to the name of our page, but it doesn't have that 7515 club number in it. It's a little friendlier name that somebody who doesn't know our club could find us by if he didn't know the 7515. Now we have a lot of plans for how to use this group, but because it's a group, there are things that we can do that will cause your friends to see what's going on at the club and become intrigued and want to come. How many of you were in the room when I gave a talk in late June about my life on the island of Rhodes? If you remember, the room was packed. There was not an empty chair in the place because I put out a Facebook invitation to all my friends in the Fairfield area. Hey, I'm giving this talk. Here's the title. I'd love it if you were in the audience. Here's the details you need to know about where and when. I did that, and I sent out a bunch of emails. And a whole lot of people showed up. Any of us could do that. What we want to leverage is the power of your friends that are interested in you and what you're doing. How many of you would like to speak before a room full of people instead of just a lot of empty chairs? It's a lot more fun that way. So I'll be going into this in more detail, what you'll need to do. But just let me see a show of hands. Who in the room does not already have a Facebook profile for himself? So I can see no hands, so I can assume that every one of you is on Facebook. Probably all of you have 50 or more friends. If you don't, we'll go into how to get more friends. We're gonna leverage the fact that your friends are interested in what you do to build this club.
Can we ask some questions?
Sure.
Are we at a point now where we can start inviting?
Good question. Some of you we put into the group and are members already, but given that I know that everybody has a Facebook page, we're now going to start putting all of you into the group and sending out messages on the group that you will see. And I'll give a talk here shortly about how to use this group to get your friends into the seats in this room. More questions?
Well, and then also, so that's we're doing outreach, but we also want to make it more engaging and interactive with all of us. So this page will allow us as members, if you're a member, and we're still playing with it a little bit, but I don't know if you have to accept when you get the invitation, or if two ways to be a member. Either we invite you and then you go yes, or if you have someone that you want to invite, you invite them, and then there'll be an administrator. There's like several people that will be able to then say yes or no, but all members. And then you can post things of interest of Toastmasters. Like we were playing with it, and I posted an article about things that women do, or females, things that they do that actually undercut their communication, the way some of the things that they say or manners, because it's important for women to know that. So that would be of interest to our, everybody.
Yeah, you may come across in your professional life some really valuable post or article about something in the area of leadership or communication, and you can share it with the group. It just extends the conversation that we have here in the club room to every day if you want. You can.
And what we're thinking is, like, I took a picture of Dan tonight when I came in, and he's going to get, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to get put up on this page, and then I'm going to tag him, and then we've done one test of tagging, and it goes into his feed, but it doesn't go on his timeline. So we're trying to get it to timelines, and I'm not quite sure, and then you guys share it, somehow you just, so we're still playing with it, but we're just, Art's saying we want to get it out there. I think it's cool if your friends get to see pictures of you up there doing your thing. So we're trying to get them. And we're trying to have fun with it. You guys, it's fun to see yourself. Like, oh, look, there's Ephraim. His girlfriend just told him he's having a baby. No, it has to be clean. Everything on the page has to be clean. You can't get, okay, that's it.
Yes. So we'll be going into this more. But the thing to remember is you already know how to post on your own profile, your own timeline. And your friends see that stuff. So what I'd request is you think about every time you're preparing a speech, a week before you're going to give the speech, put out a little post on your thing. Hey, I'm going to give a talk at Toastmasters. It's called The 4 Mistakes That Have Run My Life. And I'd love it if you came and heard me. And all your friends see that. And then you share it with the group. We'll see it as administrators. And if we're able to, we're going to make sure that all the rest of the friends of all the other club members in the group see the same post, so that all kinds of people get invitations and get notices about what's going on in the club. That's the idea. That's the way things go viral. That people think, ooh, really interesting talk.
And if you guys know some stuff that we need to, you know, to refine this whole thing, please, you
Yeah,
know.
we
do
are
it.
not a paradigm.
We're trying to go from groups to individuals to, you know, that, and
Yeah, if you know a lot about how this Facebook machinery works, please send me an email, call me up, let me know what it is that I need to learn about how all this stuff works. Okay,
Art, can I block my mother?
can we block your mother?
Yeah.
She's your next evaluator.
Thank you, Art, and thank you for the great job you're doing as Vice President of Public Relations, trying to double the size of our meeting. You said you'd like every chair filled. One of the solutions is to remove some of the chairs. I think that would accomplish that also. So thank you for the congratulations to Ephraim and Isaac for their icebreakers. Ryan, would you like to stand up and say maybe one good thing about Toastmasters, about this meeting?
I really liked all the varied speeches on table topics and all the great questions that Emery had. Sorry. To ask us. It was really entertaining and it made you think. It was good.
Good, thank you. Thank you for coming. If there's no more business, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.